everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Offsides and On One, a hockey podcast where we're loud, proud, and probably in the penalty box. I'm your host, Evan Moore, and I'm here to talk all things hockey, and we have got a lot to talk about this week. From highly anticipated debuts, chipped teeth, and attempted theft, this week in hockey has so much to offer, so let's get right into it. Okay, so first up, a little disclaimer before we go into this episode. I'm currently sitting in my car recording this because the studio was booked and desperate times call for desperate measures. So I'm in the car. If you hear weird noises, it's because just that I'm in a parking lot in my car. So yeah, there's my disclaimer. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the episode. Okay, so first up, I want to go like usual and get into a few milestones that were reached this week. So, of course, again, we have another Alex Ovechkin milestone. Last Wednesday, Alex Ovechkin became the first player in NHL history to reach 900 goals with an awesome no-look backhand goal against the Blues. After this goal, Jordan Binnington decided he was going to try to snatch Ovi's 900th goal puck, but that was quickly shut down by the refs because they went over and got it. But this was a whole thing on Twitter, and I'll get into the Ovi goal in a second. We'll talk more about that, but I want to talk about the Binnington thing first. This was a whole thing on Twitter because everybody was like attacking him because not a lot of people enjoy Jordan Binnington, but he was like, oh, if that was Marc-Andre Fleury, everybody would have laughed. And I specifically saw a tweet that was like, well, Marc-Andre Fleury is a likable person, so not to say that Jordan Binnington's not a likable person. I'm not here to hate on anybody unless you're Trevor Zegras, but But yeah, people were upset with Jordan Binnington for that, but the Caps would go on to win that game 6-1. Another milestone reached this week was when Nazem Kadri played his 1,000th game last Wednesday against the Blue Jackets at home. The Flames would go on to win this game 5-1, and Kadri even had a goal in the game, which is pretty cool. The whole thing they did was really sweet. They had the 1,000 jersey. He was out there on the ice with his family. It was so nice. But yeah, Nazem Kadri's great, and happy for him. Congrats on the 1,000th game. So the last milestone I want to highlight this week is that earlier last week, Macklin Celebrini became the fastest teenager to reach 20 points in a season since Sidney Crosby did in 2006. Macklin Celebrini now sits at number 3 in the league with 24 points, behind Connor Bedard and Leo Carlsson, who are both tied for second. Now, I just thought this was super cool. Obviously, Celebrini is just absolutely unbelievable, but to see that sort of statistic compared to an 18-year-old Sidney Crosby, it's like, oh wait, it's like history repeats itself, and you don't necessarily realize that or connect those dots until you see a stat like that, me at least, but I was like, wow, that is so sick. That's also me being a little hockey nerd, like a stats nerd, but whatever, but yeah, Macklin Celebrini is the quickest teenager to 20 points in a season since Sidney Crosby. So hold on to your hats, folks, because I fear that the future may be teal. So if you're not a Sharks fan, maybe join the bandwagon. I'm certainly not a Sharks fan, but I enjoy watching Macklin Celebrini. He is something special, that's for sure. And I'm excited to see what he does throughout the rest of his career. And who knows, maybe we'll be talking about him in the same caliber as Sidney Crosby someday. That's crazy to think about, but like it's not wild, it's not totally out of the question because that guy's crazy. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he has in store throughout the rest of his career. All right, I just want to get into some miscellaneous stuff here. Doesn't really have a category, but it is things that happened in the league throughout the week. So first off, I want to talk about that goal, that overtime winner with the Predators and the Wild last week, because what the heck? This week in the NHL, we learned that you can score a goal without actually scoring a goal. Last Tuesday, the Wild won an overtime game with a very controversial goal from Marcus Johansson when he scored after the net had been knocked off its pegs. Now, that was determined to be a good goal because the refs said that even if the net wouldn't have been knocked off by the Preds goaltender, that it still would have went in. But I'm just confused because since when does a goal count when the net's knocked off? I mean, like, It not even that the puck went in the net or it was like crossing the line as it went off. The net was completely detached off the top bar down. Like, the whole thing is just ridiculous. I mean, I can't have the video in here, but I encourage you to go watch it to see for yourself, because I don't get it. But I'm not an NHL ref, so, probably a good thing I'm not an NHL ref. Actually, no, it would be a good thing because these guys are blind. But yeah, it was determined a good goal. I guess that makes it fair. Who knows? But some crazy stuff going on. And Preds fans were pissed off. Thankfully, it's not like a playoff game or anything or a game with stakes, but good night. If it was, holy crap, this is something that I'm sure we're going to look back on and talk about for a long time. But if it was a playoff game, all hell would break loose. But yeah, I personally don't think that it should have counted. But again, not an NHL ref. But that's my opinion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a moment of silence for Macklin Celebrini's teeth. Thank you for that moment of silence there. So, basically, last Friday against the Jets at home, Celebrini took a high stick that chipped a few of his front teeth. And the look on his face when he stood up from this, and like he goes to feel it like with his glove, and I can't tell if he's like going to feel it to see if his teeth are there or if he's like pointing to the ref or what, but the camera, that shot is golden. It is hilarious. Sorry, Mac, that is so funny, but guess what it is. While that sucks for Celebrini, the internet once again had a field day, and the memes were flying, and I was there for every single one of them. My personal favorite is the tweet that I have up on the screen now. I laughed at this for, I don't know, it was probably 10 minutes. Like, I was sitting there just giggling to myself, because it's just, Celebrini, come on. But unfortunately, Celebrini didn't last very long, because he got his jibs fixed the next day. So unfortunately, Celebrini didn't last very long for me, but I'm still going to be saying that all the time. So if you ever hear me say Celebrini, you come back and click to this episode to know what I'm talking about. But before he lost his teeth, Celebrini scored an incredible breakaway goal that's going to be on highlight reels for now until the end of time. And it was the equalizer for the Sharks, who would ultimately go on to win that game against the Jets 2-1. And speaking of that game against the Panthers, the Sharks went on to win that game too. They beat the Panthers, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, 3-1. So who knows? The Sharks might be on a heater, going on a heater right now. They're on a 2-game win streak, so who knows? They play tomorrow night. We'll find out. But yeah, here I am again, glazing the Sharks. Something's not right. Somebody, get me out of here. Get me out of here. In that same vein of sick goals, we have a few other ones that I want to talk about this week. And first up, I want to talk about that Bedard goal against the Flames. Like, are you serious? That was ridiculous. I mean, absolutely disgusting. And not only did Bedard have that ridiculous dance around the defense goal, but he also had 3 assists that night, giving him a total of 4 points. Those 4 points would push him ahead of Macklin Celebrini in the league standings. As I said earlier, he and Leo Carlsson are tied for second in the league standings. And the Hawks would go on to win this game 4-0, with Spencer Knight having a shutout, making 33 saves. That kid is on one right now. I have been on the Spencer Knight train. Don't even play with me. I have been on this train. And since going to Chicago, he has looked like an absolute genius. Just a total masterclass from that guy. And this night is a perfect example. And the last goal I want to talk about from this week that was ridiculous was Nathan MacKinnon when he scored an incredible goal right out of the box Saturday against the Oilers. I gotta say it was very Crosby-esque. Sid has done that once or twice in his day. But as soon as Nate hit the ice, the puck found his stick like a magnet. And of course, he's Nathan MacKinnon, so he found the back of the net. It was an incredible goal. And the Avs would go on to win this game 9-1. Like, that is ridiculous. There's somebody staring at me right now. I look like an absolute freak. He's also carrying a spider plant. Anyway, the Avs would go on to win this game 9-1. And honestly, what's the over-under of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl taking their heated driveways elsewhere? Taking their heated driveways in their dystopian looking houses elsewhere. If you don't know what their houses look like, give it a Google, because they're really like, they freak me out. But yeah, how long do you think those boys are going to last in Edmonton if they keep this up? All right, you know what? I have waited long enough. Guess what? It's time to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bow, 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 bow. Shocker, I know, right? Me talking about the Penguins, that never happens. But yeah, I have written in the script, I want to talk about the Penguins real quick. It's not going to be real quick. So sit with me here, folks. The Penguins had a big-ish week this week. And no, I will not be talking about Monday night's game against the Leafs. Under any circumstances, thank you. But last Thursday, November 6th, Sid and Ovi played for the 99th time. They played each other for the 99th time. And in that game, the Pens continued to prove that a 3-0 lead is the scariest lead in Penguins hockey. And in that game, Ben Kindle earned his first NHL career assist to who other than Sidney Crosby. Kindle is currently enrolled in the Sidney Crosby School of Deflecting in front of the net. Once he's graduated from the Sidney Crosby School of Deflecting in front of the net, the Penguins are winning 8 Stanley Cups in a row. Thank you very much. In Malkin, like I said earlier, he had a nasty feed to Rusty to get the Pens back on top after a late comeback from the Capitals. But to cap this beautiful night off, Connor Dewar won Pittsburgh Big Macs after scoring in the empty net. Thank you, Connor. I unfortunately didn't get my Big Mac because I am stuck somewhere where they don't honor the Penguins' Big Mac attack. But I still appreciate him. And I'm happy for everybody that got a Big Mac. If you got a Big Mac, make some noise in the comments. But yeah, that was a sick game. Thank God we won, or I would have just probably had to scream and take a hiatus or something. But yeah, thank goodness. All right, everybody. So I'm still on the Penguins rant here, but I want you to put your tinfoil hats on for a second, because just stick with me. Hold my hand through this. Now, I want to preface this with the fact that it's early in the season. Obviously, we don't know how good these Penguins really are, but come on now. Let me have this win and ride this high for as long as I possibly can, because I need it. And hockey is more fun when the Penguins are good. So that's it. There was my disclaimer. Here I go. The Penguins power play, the first unit of the power play, is the most lethal power play unit Pittsburgh hockey has seen in years. Dare since I say the HBK. Who said that? Who said it? Sorry. But, we're winning now, babe. Forget about tanking for McKenna. Who needs Gavin McKenna when you have Ben Kindle? Thank you very much. Say it with me now. Amen. Amen. That Kindle Crosby Rust line, somebody sedate me. I mean, seriously. It is perfection, and it is gorgeous, and it needs to stay like that for the rest of the season. Please, Dan. Please. Dan, thank you. All I'm saying is get ready to put the Kindle statue next to the 3-headed monster statue. I don't know where we're planning on putting all of these, the Crosby, Letang Malkin statue. I don't know where we're putting her, but make room for Ben Kindle on the end of that. Glad I didn't overreact there, right? Glad I'm not hyping this kid up too much, right? Anyway. But yeah, I mean, he's incredible. And just watching him sort of grow up in the league under Sid right now, it's super awesome. And I feel like once he gets to a certain point in his career, it's just going to be absolute perfection. I mean, having Sidney Crosby as a mentor like that for your first season and however many seasons, it's going to be something really special. And I think Ben Kindle is going to be something really special for the Penguins in the coming years. And I'm really excited. All jokes aside, I'm really excited. But yeah, he's sick. And does this slightly help me get over the Gensel heartbreak? Okay, maybe a little bit. Am I still there? Yes, I'm there on that evil day when I found out through Instagram. But, things are going up, looking better for the future in Pittsburgh than they did about 2 months ago. So yeah. And Sidney Crosby for MVP, by the way. Sidney Crosby for MVP, everybody. So look out for that, because it's happening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, you thought I was done? Wrong. Guess what? There's more. This weekend, Penguins fans got to see the highly anticipated debut of Sergei Murashov, the most anticipated goalie in the Penguins system since Marc-Andre Fleury. Now listen, folks, I have been waiting for this one. I have been waiting for this one since Sergei played a game in freaking Wheeling in the Wheeling Nailers, and I was sitting there in the audience. I said, wow, he's really good. She's really good. Camp Rock reference, if anybody caught that. But yeah, all jokes aside, I was so excited for this. I was so excited. Literally, I got to see him. I was at Flowers' last game. Just kidding. Don't mean to rub it in your faces, but I was at that game, and I did get to see Sergei play for a little bit in that game, and I was like, okay. And like I mentioned, Wheeling Nailers legend. I got to see him play in Wheeling multiple times with the Nailers, and he flashed that leather just as much in Wheeling as he did on Sunday, and people weren't talking about him enough. People weren't talking about him enough when he was in Wheeling. He moved up to the baby pens, and people were like, wow, love this kid. And I was like, yeah, girl, that's my Nailers goalie. That's my Wheeling Nailers legend, babe. But yeah, I love seeing guys come up through the ranks, especially from like Wheeling up, because I fortunately enough get to go to a decent amount of Nailer games during the year. So it's always fun when you get to see like Casey DeSmith. When Casey DeSmith was with the Nailers, it was a time where I was able to go to multiple Nailers games a week because I had an in to the game. I was able to go to multiple Nailers games a week, pretty much, me and my cousin. And we got to see Casey DeSmith, and then he worked his way up to the Pens, and that was really cool. And now it's happening again with Sergei, and I just love that. I love it when guys work their way through the system and get to prove themselves that, you know, they deserve a spot on the Penguins roster, and I just love that. You know, while the Pens couldn't get a win at home against the Kings, unfortunately, in Sergei's debut, they still put on a good game, and Sergei kept us in that game. Can I just say that? I mean, like, Dan Muse, you hit the nail on the head with that one, babe, because it's true. He did. He gave us a chance, and unfortunately, Darcy Kemper was playing like freaking prime Carey Price, and we just couldn't get a puck in the net. So, unfortunately, we didn't get a win that day, but we got to see Sergei in net for the very first time in a regular season game, and that's all that matters. All right, Yinzer rant done. That's all I got. Thank you all for sitting with me through this delusional time of being a Penguins fan, but let me have a win, please. Let me have a win. I need it. All right, now that the Yinzer Delusion Fest is over, I want to talk about the Olympic jersey reveals this week. So this week, there were a few jerseys revealed for the 2026 Olympic Games. We saw Team Canada's jersey and Finland's jersey. A lot of people online were not fans of Canada's jersey. I'm not the biggest fan. When they posted the original picture up, I was like, oh, that again? We're sticking with that. But then they posted the picture of Sidney Crosby wearing it, and I was like, I love it. I love it. This is the greatest jersey anybody's ever had. The picture that I'm talking about is up here right now, and I was like, yep, okay, never mind. I don't hate it anymore. So, Team Canada, you better be thanking Sid for modeling the jerseys in a way that made me not hate them. But yeah, they're certainly not as bad as they could be. Again, like the majority of people wish that they wouldn't have gone with that maple leaf design again. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's not horrible, but it's just not the coolest. But whatever. Finland's jerseys, though, I think are sick. I honestly prefer the white one over the navy one, but I think these are sick. They're clean. They look nice. They're just simple enough. I think they're great. But yeah. And another thing about the Olympics, I've seen a lot of people talking about this online, and at this point, there is seriously no reason for Canada to not have Celebrini and Bedard on that team. There is no reason. Like, taking Tyler Toffoli at this point over them? What? Or, like, taking Tyler Bertuzzi over them? Are we on crack? I understand experience, whatever, but, like, they're second and third in the NHL in points right now, and two of the league's greatest stars. Like, get them in the Olympics. That's, if they are not on the Team Canada roster in the next couple weeks, I might scream. and you're going to hear me complain about it on this podcast. Would it be better for Team USA? Yeah, of course. Of course, because the picture that I have on the screen right now details a projected second line for Team Canada if Celebrini were to make the roster, with Crosby, McKinnon, and Celebrini. And if that's the case, good luck. Wrap it up. What do we have? Wrap it up. Connor Hellebuck? Don't care. Sorry, Bucky. But, like, we're done for if that happens. So, yeah. The Team USA fan in me says keep him off the roster, but the hockey fan in me says put him on the roster. So, yeah. At this point, I really think that they will, because they know people are going to lose their ever-loving minds if they don't put them on the roster. But, yeah, that was just something on my noggin that I wanted to talk about, because Canada, you are delusional if that doesn't get put together in the next few weeks. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get into the league standings. So these are the league standings as of Monday, November 10th at roughly 2 o'clock. In the Atlantic Division, we have the Montreal Canadiens still leading, but with 22 points this time. In the Metro, we have a tie between the Devils and the Hurricanes with 22 points. In the Central, we have the Avs, who lead with 25 points. And in the Pacific, they're back. They actually know how to play hockey again. The Anaheim Ducks lead with 23 points and are on a 7-game winning streak right now. So welcome back, Pacific Division. Sorry I wasn't familiar with your game. I've been really hating on you for the past few weeks, but you proved me wrong. Thank you, Anaheim, for proving me wrong. And obviously the Avs lead the league with 25 points. Now I want to go into the player standings. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but Nathan McKinnon leads the league with 29 points and also leads the league in goals with 14. Like I said earlier, Leo Carlsson and Connor Bedard are tied for second in points, each having 25. And Macklin Celebrini sits right behind them at third with 23 points. All right, that's all for the standings we have this week. And now I'm going to go straight ahead into the winners and losers. We don't have a ton this week, but the ones that we do have are pretty good. Our first winner of the week doesn't have a lot of context. Frankly, no context at all. But it is this tweet with this picture posted by the Colorado Avalanche. And I think it speaks for itself. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I want to know the context of this picture and how the hell they got him to put that mustache on. But honestly, I like the mystery of it. Maybe I don't want to know. Yeah, I think I don't want to know. I like the mystery of just the concept of Nathan McKinnon sitting on a stool with a sweater and glasses and a giant mustache. How did that happen? But leave it a mystery. Don't answer my question. It's a question that does not need to be answered at this time. Thank you very much. The next winner is going to be this tweet from a account that I don't remember the handle, but it's on the screen here. You can see the handle. It shows a video of Carter Hart, who is trying out his new equipment with the Vegas Golden Knights, and the caption reads, "Okay, but where's his ankle monitor?" Again, this is another thing that I saw on Twitter, and I giggled at for upwards of 10 minutes because that is just, you're genius. I love hockey Twitter. You all are geniuses. I love you. Except for when you're mean. Don't be mean, but like, that is gold. That is gold. The Carter Hart hate will never cease on this page. Will never cease on this podcast. So if you're a Carter Hart defender, get out. There's the door. But yeah, I thought this was hilarious. And finally, this is a more serious winner that actually doesn't involve a tweet this week. Can you imagine that? But the last winner is going to be all of the young guns across the National Hockey League. If for any reason you thought that the NHL's future wasn't in good hands, first of all, you're crazy. And second of all, the players of tomorrow proved this week that the future is now. Bedard, Celebrini, and Carlson have had such incredible weeks, as I talked about earlier. And that's just like the biggest highlight reel young guns, and not to mention so many others across the league. And the future is bright. The level of hockey that we're getting now when they're literally teenagers is incredible. Just imagine in a few years after they have a little bit of experience, and it's just great. And I'm so excited, especially going into the Olympics, getting to hopefully see a lot of these young guys on Olympic rosters. We're blessed. Hockey fans, this is a great era. Like the ESPN commercial that I quote all the time. The next golden era is now. I collaborate just fine from home. If you know, you know. If you know, you know with that one. But yeah, shout out to all the young guns. You guys are doing some great things for the National Hockey League right now. Okay, so we only have one loser this week. And that loser is going to be the boards at Rogers Arena because they almost knocked out Connor Bedard. We almost saw two of the league's biggest, brightest, youngest stars. Oh my god, okay. Okay, descriptive words. But, yeah, we almost saw both of the league's biggest stars lose teeth this week because the way that Bedard just, like, I forget who tripped him up, but he got tripped up and just went, like, he fell, like, on his knees, basically, and then just, like, slid face first right into the boards. Did I giggle? Yeah, I did. Once I realized that he was okay, I was like, okay, that was hilarious. But, yeah, boo the boards at Rogers Arena if you're able, because they almost knocked Connor Bedard out, just knocked him out cold, and also almost knocked all of his teeth out. So, good thing he didn't have to make a trip to the dentist, I guess. But yeah, that's our loser for the week. The boards at Rogers Arena. All right, folks. You know what time it is. We're going to go right into Bag O hockey cards. Of course, I have the bag right here with me. I gave it a mix. And if you don't know what Bag O hockey cards is, basically, I have a giant tote bag full of hockey cards ranging from the 1990s until now. And I pick a card and I tell you who the player is, tell you a little bit about the card, read the card to you. If it's somebody I don't know, I'll give them a Google. If it's somebody I do know, that's great for me. I don't have to do any effort. I don't have to put in any effort. All right, I'm reaching into the bag. I was totally not speaking into the microphone just then. Like, oh, here we have David Pastrnak. I feel like we've had a lot of Bruins. We had Phil Kessel not that long ago, when he was on the Bruins. But yeah, we have this. What season is this card from? This is an OPG card, my least favorite brand of hockey cards. And this card is from the 2020-2021 season. Yeah, it's just a basic Pastrnak card. Not to bring it up for Bruins fans, because I was mean to you last week too, but when are you guys moving him? Because I know damn well he's not staying in Boston. Anyway, I won't talk about that much more because I know how upsetting that is. But, yeah. It's pretty sick. Scores a lot of goals, this guy. This is an OPG card, so there's nothing on the back except for stats. So, I'm not going to read you that because that's boring. But, yeah, this is a pretty cool card. Shout out David Pastrnak and the Bruins. Leave in the comments where you think David Pastrnak is going to go at the deadline. Anyway, that was Bag O hockey cards. Thanks for sitting with me with that. It was kind of a short one, but there's nothing on the back of this card, so sorry. All right, everybody. So that's just going to about do it for me this week. That's all I got. Tune back in next Tuesday for more hockey talk and special segment where I rank the best mustaches so far of Movember, because it's the best time of the year. Hockey players across the league are growing out some incredible mustaches, and I'm going to be ranking my top 10 mustaches next week, so tune in for that. And of course, come back again next week for just regular hockey talk. We post every Tuesday. Go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Follow us on social medias. They're all linked in the description, and our handles are up here on the screen. And yeah, I appreciate you very much for sticking with me through this very strange episode that I'm recording in my car. And it is heavily snowing right now, so the trek back to anywhere, literally anywhere but this car to edit, is going to be something for sure. So winter wonderland. But yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.